Bible in a Year Live, Chronological Project, Week 3, Day 3, Common English Bible. When Pharaoh's household heard the message, Joseph's brothers have arrived, both Pharaoh and his servants were pleased. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Give your brothers these instructions. Load your pack animals and go back to the land of Canaan. Get your father and your households and come back to me. Let me provide for you with good things from the land of Egypt, so that you may eat the land's best food. Give them these instructions too. Take wagons from the land of Egypt for your children and wives, and pick up your father and come back. Don't worry about your possessions, because you will have good things from the entire land of Egypt." So Israel's sons did that. Joseph gave them wagons as Pharaoh introduced, and he gave them provisions for the road. To all of them he gave a change of clothing, but to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of clothing. To his father he sent 10 male donkeys carrying goods from Egypt, 10 female donkeys carrying grain and bread, and rations for his father for the road. He sent his brothers off, and as they were leaving, he told them, "Don't be worried about the trip." So they left Egypt and returned to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. They announced to him, "Joseph's still alive. He's actually ruler of all the land of Egypt." Jacob's heart nearly failed, and he didn't believe them. When they told him everything Joseph had said to them, and when he saw the wagons Joseph had sent to carry him, Jacob recovered. Then Israel said, "This is too much. My son Joseph is still alive? Let me go and see him before I die." Israel packed up everything he owned and traveled to Beersheba. There he offered sacrifices to his father Isaac's God. God said to Israel in a vision at night, "Jacob, Jacob." And he said, "I'm here." He said, "I am El, your father's God. Don't be afraid to go down to Egypt, because I will make a great nation of you there. I will go down to Egypt with you, and I promise to bring you out again. Joseph will close your eyes when you die." Then Jacob left Beersheba. Israel's sons put their father Jacob, their children, and their wives on the wagons Pharaoh had sent to carry him. They took their livestock and their possessions that they had acquired in the land of Canaan and arrived in Egypt, Jacob and all his children with him, his sons and grandsons, his daughters and his granddaughters. All of his descendants he brought with him to Egypt. These are the names of the Israelites who went to Egypt, including Jacob and his sons. Jacob's oldest son was Reuben. Reuben's sons were Hanok, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. Simeon's sons were Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shaul, whose mother was a Canaanite. Levi's sons were Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Judah's sons were Onan, Shelah, Perez, and Zerah. And Onan both died in the land of Canaan. Perez's sons were Hezron and Hemuel. Issachar's sons were Tola, Puvah, Lob, and Shimron. Zebulun's sons were Sered, Elon, and Jalil. These are the sons Leah bore to Jacob in Paddan Aram. Her daughter was Dinah. All these persons, including his sons and daughters, totaled 33. Gad's sons were Ziphon, Hagi, Shuni, Esbon, Eri, Arodi, and Ereli. Asher's sons were Imnah, Ishva, Ishvi, Beriah, and their sister Sarah. Beriah's sons were Heber and Machiel. These are the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to his daughter Leah. She bore these to Jacob, a total of 16 persons. The sons of Jacob's wife Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. To Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim. Asenath, daughter of Potipharah, priest of Heliopolis, bore them to him. Benjamin's sons were Bela, Becher, Ashbel, Gera, Naaman, Ahi, Rosh, Nupim, Hupim, and Ard. These are Rachel's sons, who were born to Jacob, a total of 14 persons. Dan's sons was Hushim. Naphtali's sons were Jazil, Guni, Jezer, and Shelim. These are the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave to his daughter Rachel. She bore these to Jacob, a total of 7 persons. All of the persons going to Egypt with Jacob, his own children, excluding Jacob's sons' wives, totaled 66 persons. Joseph's sons bore to him in Egypt were 2 persons. Thus, all of the persons in Jacob's household going to Egypt totaled 70. Israel had sent Judah ahead to Joseph so that Joseph could explain the way to Goshen. When they arrived in the land of Goshen, Joseph hitched up his chariot and went to meet his father Israel in Goshen. When he arrived, he threw his arms around his neck and wept, embracing him for a long time. Israel said to Joseph, "I can die now after seeing your face. You are really still alive." Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's household, "Let me go up and inform Pharaoh and tell him, my brothers and my father's household who were in the land of Canaan have arrived. The men are shepherds, because they own livestock. They brought with them their livestock and herds and everything they own. When Pharaoh summons you and says, 'What do you do?' say, 'Your servants have owned livestock since we were young, both we and our ancestors, so that you will be able to settle in the land of Goshen, since Egyptians think all shepherds are beneath their dignity." Joseph went to inform Pharaoh and said, "My father and brothers with their flocks, herds, and everything they own have come from the land of Canaan and are now in the land of Goshen." From all of his brothers, he selected 5 men and presented them before Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Joseph's brothers, "What do you do?" They said to Pharaoh, "Your servants are shepherds, both we and our ancestors." They continued, "We've come to the land as immigrants because the famine is so severe in the land of Canaan that there are no more pastures for your servants' flocks. Please allow your servants to settle in the land of Goshen." Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Since your father and brothers have arrived, the land of Egypt is available to you. Settle your father and brothers in the land's best location. Let them live in the land of Goshen, and if you know capable men among them, put them in charge of my livestock." Joseph brought his father Jacob and gave him an audience with Pharaoh. Jacob blessed Pharaoh, and Pharaoh said to Jacob, "How old are you?" Jacob said to Pharaoh, "I've been a traveler for 130 years. My years have been few and difficult. They don't come close to the years my ancestors lived during their travels." Jacob blessed Pharaoh and left Pharaoh's presence. Joseph settled his father and brothers and gave them property in the land of Egypt, in the best location in the land of Ramses, just as Pharaoh had ordered. Joseph provided food for his father, his brothers, and his father's entire household in portion to the number of children. There was no food in the land because the famine was so severe. The land of Egypt and the land of Canaan dried up from the famine. Joseph collected all of the silver to be found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the grain, which people came to buy, and he deposited it in Pharaoh's treasury. The silver from the land of Egypt and from the land of Canaan had been spent, and all of Egyptians came to Joseph and said, "Give us food. Why should we die before your eyes just because the silver is gone?" Joseph said, "Give me your livestock, and I will give you food for your livestock if the silver is gone." So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them food for the horses, flocks, cattle, and donkeys. He got them through that year with food in exchange for all their livestock. When that year was over, they came to him the next year and said to him, "We can't hide from my master that the silver is spent and that we've given the livestock to my master. All that's left for my master is our corpses and our farmland. Why should we die before your eyes? We and our farmland too. Buy us and our farms for food, and we and our farms will be under Pharaoh's control. Give us seed so that we can stay alive and not die, and so that our farmland won't become unproductive." So Joseph bought all of Egypt's farmland for Pharaoh, because every Egyptian sold his field when the famine worsened. So the land became Pharaoh's. He moved the people to the cities from the one end of Egypt to the other. However, he didn't buy the farmland of the priests because Pharaoh allowed the priests a subsidy, and they were able to eat from the subsidy Pharaoh gave them. Therefore, they didn't have to sell their farmland. Joseph said to the people, "Since I have now purchased you and your farmland for Pharaoh, here's seed for you. Plant the seed on the land. When the crop comes in, you must give 1/5 to Pharaoh. You may keep 4/5 for yourself, for planting fields and for feeding yourselves, those in your households and your children." The people said, "You've saved our lives. If you wish, we will be Pharaoh's slaves." So Joseph made a law that still exists today. Pharaoh receives 1/5 from Egypt's farmland. Only the priest's farmland didn't become Pharaoh's. Israel lived in the land of Egypt, in the land of Goshen. They settled in it and had many children and became numerous.